Hello and welcome my friends to the Flying Kick, this is Savino speaking. In today's video I will do something that I don't like to do very much, review an early access game. I don't like because the game isn't ready, and reviewing something that isn't ready isn't very fair, I guess. But in this case I think the game have a lot of potential really, and also have some problems that I want to address here. Wanna know what are they? Well, after the intro. First, let us always take the story out of our way. The main reason is because this is a beaten up and the fact that the story doesn't make a lot of sense for now. The problem here is the devs are Chinese and no one among them speaks English very well. Not that I can talk too much about them. So they are relying on automatic translation and this never end up well. You know how it is. What I got is this. Professor Unlucky was, for some reason, absorbed by a parallel dimension in order to be reunited with his dead wife. But, because he altered the space-time continuum, all these dimensions started to collapse. To avoid this, Professor Unlucky went to various dimensions and started a criminal organization called School that spread across the multiverse. And because of that, people of different dimensions united to eliminate School once and for all. Did you get it? Because I still don't. Fortunately, this is a beaten up and story isn't mandatory. Although I spoke with the devs and you can rest assured that everything will make total sense at launch. I hope. With that out of our way, let's talk a little bit about the graphics. The game is hand-drawn and have a very nice look overall. The backgrounds look a little blurry by now, but this is another issue that the devs already addressed, so I will ignore it for now. What you get here in terms of environment is very well done, with little to no repetition on the backgrounds, all the objects are very well defined and there's nothing blocking you too much during your gameplay. You can see that the devs put a lot of effort on it. The characters are well made too, and they have their backstory that I'm not touching now, but it explains their looks and design choices. The enemies are also well made, we got the traditional palette swap here, but each version comes with a different attack to keep things fresh. Still doesn't have too much variety in the enemies department, but this is something that I hope we will see an improvement later. Animation is good, but some must still be missing some frames. You have some nice animated moves for your characters and enemies, and you have this, which looks a little choppy. Come on, this looks bad. This do not hurt the gameplay at all, of course, but doesn't look good either. The specials are effective, but except for Rider's multi-attack, they are kinda lacking. I miss more lights and flashy effects trying to all costs give me a seizure. Here they are effective and tell you that the special is in place, but that's it. Again, early access, but the point here is, well, the point here is to point this kind of stuff. Let's talk about audio because it really needs some improvement. First, soundtrack. Yeah, it's here, but sometimes it seems it isn't. Unfortunately, the majority of the tracks here don't convey any emotion, nothing. It doesn't put adrenaline in your veins, you know? It's elevator musical all around. It have a couple of better tracks, but they aren't something we will remember or maybe even notice. But the sound effects you remember. The punches and kicks are what you expect for a low-budget indie beaten up, but the voices, oh, you will remember the voices. You see, since Axel's Grand-Upper in Streets of Rage, that is common to listen to voices and words being used when you use your special. And that's the point, you don't use it every time, and when you use it, well, you want the world to hear it. The problem here is that you use your special a lot, and the characters have only one line, so be prepared to listen to "It's high time, joy!" more than you can possibly count. A way to address it would be recording new lines, or maybe skip some voices when you use your special too much. I don't know, something must be done because it's very annoying sometimes. But let me explain to you why you use your special a lot while we talk about the gameplay. First, let's take a look at what the game offers. It has the arcade mode, which actually the story mode here. the challenge, where you will face the enemies and have to break objects in a certain time, and the boss rush, which is boss rush, don't have much to say about it, and the arcade mode have no level selection and no way to keep the story, although you can fast forward it. This is something that really needs to be in the final game, because sometimes you want to try a level with a different character or want to get better in that level, and you can do it without playing everything that came first. Oh, in the challenge and boss rush you have to unlock with coins that you earn every time you lose all your lives. Coins are actually a pretty important factor when you play this game. You need coins to buy continues, and every continue is more expensive than the last. In your first playthrough you will probably have 2 or 3 continues to play with, but after a while you'll start to stockpile a lot of coins and the continue cost becomes irrelevant. The combat is where things really get good here, and sometimes also bad. You have a good number of moves and the 3 characters play very different from each other. Here you have your punch, your jump and your special button. Your special have its own bar that regenerates over time. If you stand still, the bar will refill faster. You also have some extra moves that you can do pressing some button combinations to create a very versatile combat system. But I recommend keep an eye on your special bar, since it's the only way to become invisible for a moment. You use it a lot to escape some undesirable situations. And as for the characters, we have Hawkeye, which is a mix of tank and the average character. Since there's no proper tank character in this game, he partially filled this hole with some moves typical of the tanks. His technique is low, so scoring combos can be a little more difficult with him, but he's probably the best for crowd control here. Arado is fast and moves quicker than anyone, not so strong as Hawkeye, but he can throw some hard punches and kicks around. His technique is superior to Hawkeye, let him pull combos more easily. He's the only one who can double jump, and his special are more on the defensive sides than the others. Last, we have Red Sheep, the most versatile character in game, by far the weakest, but with the best technique you can push huge combo sequences and kill your enemies in one streak. She also can transform in an interdimensional creature that can deal massive damage to your enemies. The core system here is obviously keep your combo going up, and the game is pretty generous in how it holds your count. If you get hit you lose your chain, as expected, but if you avoid damage you can push hundreds of combos easily in this game, and the feeling is awesome. But not everything is perfect here. The characters lack iframe, a small invincibility number of frames that your character must have after being knocked down, and scenes like this can be very common even when you take care. Some enemies are very overpowered, giving little to no chance for the player to approach. And due to the lack of iframes, you sometimes will have no option other than flying kick the heck out of them, which gets old very fast. And without spoiling anything, let's talk about the last boss. I mean, 2 phases bosses are okay when you have a fair fight, but here things are very unbalanced. The first version of the boss is very easy for the last boss. Number 6, the first boss, can be harder the first time you face him, and the second phase is absurdly overpowered and unfair. It not only gives you a lot of damage, but most of his attacks are unavoidable if you don't have any special juice left, and they will hurt you a lot. I could beat him after a little practice, but it's very frustrating how he can easily defeat you. It may seem that a lot of things need to be fixed here to this become a great game, but believe me, everything that makes a good beat'em up is here. The variety of characters is good, the combo system is great, and the controls are very responsive. In other words, we have a pretty solid core of a beat'em up here, something that for the first game of this team deserves all the praise. I guess the main problem here is the aforementioned lack of iframe and bosses being sometimes too powerful.
I can do this.
Do I recommend Fury Fight? Well, if you're a fan of beat'em ups, and you probably are, otherwise why would you be here? I guess it's worth the price. The devs seems to be good people, and the more input they have, the better the game can get. So if you wanna help make this game better, go for it. If you are not very patient with games that aren't ready, I suggest hold on a little. I have no idea how long the early access will last, but I'm pretty sure that things will improve soon enough. And that's it for the review, guys. I hope I helped make your mind, and if you like the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and all that good stuff. And this week I have a bombastic review to make with never seen before content, so look this channel out. See you guys very soon, and remember, keep beating up.
Dust to dust!